Hello and welcome to YTV. I'm Raleigh, Cavero.
And I'm Madison, Alworth. After 10 months of campaigning, New Haven finally has a new mayor. State Senator Tony Harp emerged victorious from Tuesday's election, becoming the city's first new mayor since John DeStefano Jr. took office over 20 years ago.
Harp fended off a challenge from Ward 10 Alderman Justin Elicker, who entered the race as an independent after finishing second to Harp in the Democratic primary. Harp captured 54% of the more than 19,000 New Haven residents that came out to vote.
Tuesday also saw Democrat and 2012 grad Sarah Idelson defend her seat as Ward 1 Alderwoman. Idelson originally won the post as a Yale College senior in 2011 and defeated current undergraduate Paul Chandler in this year's race. Chandler's candidacy was supported by the Yale College Republicans, who tapped him to enter the race in April. Approximately 800 students turned out to vote, with Idelson winning 63% of the vote.
Voters also hit the ballot box to vote on 2 revisions to the city charter. The first revision will introduce a hybrid school board to New Haven. The board was previously appointed entirely by the mayor, but now it will consist of only 4 mayoral appointees, 2 elected members, and 2 non-voting student members. The second revision makes 15 more changes to the board. Those range from giving more power to the Board of Aldermen to changing educational standards for department heads. Both revisions passed with overwhelming support, and that marks the first time in over a decade that the New Haven Charter has been altered by popular vote.
And alterations will also be coming to 100 Tower Parkway, otherwise known as Swing Space, in the very near future. Yale Law School Dean Robert Post announced Thursday morning that a $25 million donation from Robert and Christina Baker will allow the long-awaited goal of law school housing to be realized.
Building is scheduled to begin in 2018, and law students are expected to be able to move in 2019.
Provost Pollock announced that along with the 2 new residential colleges and Yale Biology building construction, the graduate school will also be undergoing much-needed renovation. But what are the graduate students' expectations and hopes for these renovations? Joseph Vincent and Lily Rivkin investigate.
Renovation plans are in the works for the Hall of Graduate Studies, the building that currently houses 168, or about 6% of Yale graduate students. The new plans hope to update the dormitory's facilities. We went to HGS to ask what improvements graduate students would like to see in their dorm rooms and living facilities.
Provost Pollock previously stated the building is in critical need of repair. Kimberly Goff-Cruz, Secretary and Vice President of Student Life, and Janet Lindman, Associate Dean of Administration, are forming a student committee to discuss long-term strategies for the Hall of Graduate Studies renovation. Currently, there are 3 options for graduate housing: on-campus housing, off-campus housing, and Yale-owned off-campus housing. But the question remains, will more students desire to live on campus after the renovation?
No, I mean, not really. It's regardless, it doesn't have anything to do with like the state of the facilities or updating or anything like that. It's just not,
Yeah, actually the bathrooms are really old because in my room sometimes shower heads don't rotate and sometimes water's all leaking somewhere in the bathroom, and so there are a lot of molds in the bathroom floor, so I think that should be renovated.
Yeah, well, the basement's kind of icky. I know. I really like studying in the common room. I wish it was open longer, I guess. But as in terms of renovations, I guess the only area I've seen is up here in the basement. So the basement's kind of old.
The speed of the project is solely dependent on budget constraints. Provost Pollock said in his statement that these plans will dovetail with Yale's other major projects. On October 7th, Provost Pollock announced target timelines for 3 major building projects: the Hall of Graduate Studies, the Yale Biology building, and the 2 new residential colleges.
Yale is aiming to have completed these various renovations by 2019. This has been Lily Rivkin and Joseph Vincent for YTV. Back to you.
The graduate school houses graduate students and is home to several humanities departments. Last week, a corpse was discovered in a Park Street home occupied by several Yale students. In September, these Yaleys living on the second and third floor of the building began to notice a smell coming from the apartment, but were unable to convince the landlord, Pike International, to investigate for several weeks. Finally, on October 28th, police and medical crews entered the home and discovered the body, which belonged to an elderly man. These events are both concerning and frightening, and we hope that no other Yaleys have similar experiences off campus.
On Thursday, the Ad Hoc Grading Committee addressed the faculty once again to discuss ideas on grading reform. Economics professor Ray Fair, who chairs the committee, announced in the meeting that they are no longer considering a number system. Last March, students protested the committee's recommendations to change Yale's grading system to a 100-point scale.
The committee also discussed the possibility of instituting different grading policies for entry-level, mid-level, and advanced-level courses.
Next year, 8 New Haven high school students and 2 Yale alumni will be traveling to China as student ambassadors as part of a program with the 100,000 Strong Foundation. That's a nonprofit aimed at increasing the number of American students studying abroad in China. The foundation chose the Yale-China Association as one of 8 signature partners for the upcoming year. The Yale-China Association, which is not formally affiliated with Yale University, was founded in 1901 and is considered a national leader in building relations between China and the United States. In 2010, Yale replaced its teacher preparation program with the Education Studies program. Now, that program is getting yet another makeover. Reporters Alero Egby and Stephanie Siao bring us more on reforms in education studies.
Thanks, guys. This year marks the inauguration of the Education Studies Undergraduate Scholar Program. The program, which replaces the teacher preparation program, comes with an interdisciplinary focus. Its goal is to prepare Yaleys to make an impact in education.
The certification program, which is a fairly significant set of structures in order to meet the requirements of the state of Connecticut, was receiving perhaps 1 or 2 or 0 students per year.
These low numbers prompted a reconstruction of the program, spearheaded by a committee including Dean Mary Miller and current Yale seniors who had expressed distress over the declining interest in the teacher preparation program.
I've gotten to meet with a lot of students, some faculty and staff, people in the community, people in New Haven Public Schools. Everybody just seems really excited that Yale has recommitted to this topic of education.
The new academic program thrives on a 3-fold agenda: policy, practice, and research. After taking a foundation course, Education Studies 110, students may apply to be education scholars. Scholars take seminar courses, gain experience teaching in the field, undergo mentorship, and complete a capstone seminar.
You can actually reasonably approach positive change in education, which I feel like is a very necessary background to have.
The most exciting facet of the new program is its welcoming of a wider audience.
Like, you can be a bio major and do education studies, like, as long as you have a passion for education.
While Teach for America remains the single highest employer of Yale students after graduation, the Education Scholars Program now provides a way for undergraduates to explore this interest. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Alero. Yale's Education Studies program primarily aims to expand Yale's academic options, but it also hosts Exchange, a series of monthly forums on education. November's meeting has already passed, but if you would like some more information on December's meeting, you can find that on the YCC calendar.
After the presentation ceremony on October 19th, the Beinecke Rare Books and Manuscripts Library became the largest holder of Middle English manuscripts outside of Britain. The donation came from Toshiyuki Takamiya and includes a Wycliffite Bible and 3 manuscripts of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. This temporary donation from Japan was enthusiastically received by the Beinecke. Most Yaleys are familiar with the stresses of college visits. However, for prospective athletes, these visits also include meetings with coaches and also with potential teammates. For more, we go to Georgiana Wagman.
Thanks, guys. Throughout the year, high school athletes from across the globe include Yale as one of their many stops on the road to becoming a college athlete. Yale varsity athletes host these recruits and are expected to show them all that Yale has to offer while being responsible and attentive.
As much as you are responsible for them, you do want to make sure they do feel at home, they are comfortable around the team, and they're always with someone.
We usually try to schedule pickups usually on the weekends, so they get a chance to kind of play with us I know the coaches usually have things for them, scheduled for them, so we just have to make sure that they're there on time.
The majority of recruits typically have less than 2 days to see all that Yale has to offer. The prospective Bulldogs are rushed around campus doing everything from attending classes to socializing with the team.
They take a tour, they see the campus, but we want them to actually go to class and see the academic piece.
You know, after their day is done and they're just with us for the rest of the night, so we usually, kind of go out and kind of show them what Yale is really all about.
Future Yale athletes spend hours researching schools on the internet and constantly keeping in touch with coaches. The official visit provides student athletes with the opportunity to put a face to a name.
I came over to an official Yale from Australia, and I wasn't committed yet. And it was a really great experience to me, because before you come to the official, all it is really just a web page which you're looking at, and you're reading different things on the internet, and you're sort of like getting different opinions from people who you'd never meet because they're just on the internet, and you're talking to coaches over the phone. Then all of a sudden you're here and you're sort of surrounded by everything, and I fell in love with it straight away.
Either alone or with family, the visit gives recruits the chance to sit down with the coach to discuss their potential future in Yale athletics. In this meeting, Yale coaches are looking for a wide range of qualities in recruits.
I want to know what their goals are as a student and as an athlete. I want them to be committed to the program for 4 years. I want to know what it means to them to win. I want to know what it means to them to have this opportunity, and I want to try to get to know them as a person.
However, perhaps the most important quality in a recruit is his ability to mesh with current members of the team.
I'm on the crew team, so it's a really team-oriented environment, so you want a team player.
It's not my team, it's our team. So we like for the players on the team to give us some feedback. Do you think she'll fit with our team? We really liked her. I'm not so sure about her. She's really quiet. And they give us their feedback, and we take that very much into consideration.
Every team's recruiting methods vary, but the opportunity for a recruit to visit Yale's campus is an invaluable part of the process across the board. For YTV, this has been Georgiana Wagman. Back to you.
Thanks, Georgiana. Yale admits around 180 varsity athletes every year.
For upperclassmen approaching the end of their time at Yale, job hunting can be a demanding and stressful process. Many Yale varsity teams have tried to alleviate some of this stress by recruiting former Bulldogs to offer career counseling and insight into the world beyond Yale's gates. We take you to Kate Walker for some more on this. Kate?
Thanks, guys. Graduation from Yale marks the end of a player's collegiate athletic career, but it is only the beginning of a much longer and arguably much greater career path. Generations of Yaleys have competed in races, games, and matches, only to find themselves years later in the stands, rooting on current athletes, and now, mentoring them. In recent years, many teams have begun building a network of alumni to give current Yale athletes career advice and help them land that first job after graduation.
All 35 sports at Yale are trying to hook into that network in some fashion, and I think that's one of the great things at Yale. The Yaleys want to help Yaleys, and that's pretty cool, very strong bond.
The ways in which individual teams have made these connections varies. Some do it more informally, reaching out to alums occasionally to see if they know of opportunities for job openings or internships. Other teams are creating a more formal system. The women's lacrosse team just began a Big Sister program, which connects individual alumni with current athletes. And the men's baseball team recently created a new private Facebook page to facilitate networking.
Basically what we did was we just accumulated as much information as we could, and we compiled it by industry. And if there's a kid here who's looking to get into finance, he'll click on the finance contacts and there's a long list of alums.
The squash coaches link individual athletes with alumni through the team's 750-person alumni organization, the Skillman Association.
And so it's can be on sort of all different levels, and it's been absolutely one of the the most valuable things of the sport in terms of the alumni relations.
The connections made are valuable, not only because they benefit Yale's athletes, but also because they keep alumni close to Yale.
I think it works both ways. I think it's a great way to connect alumni to the current team and feel a stronger connection there, and then also open up the current players to this huge wealth of alumni who are doing a million different things.
Many other teams have expressed an interest in establishing a formal networking process to facilitate these connections, making it a trend that's likely to grow on Yale's campus. For YTV, this has been Kate Walker.
Thanks, Kate. Recruiting season is currently in full swing, and that likely means a lot of networking for Yale's varsity athletes. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching YTV.
We'll see you next Sunday at 5 because it's your Yale, your week, and your news.